When I first started, a parcel of heroin was 5 kwacha and a parcel of crack cocaine was 50 kwacha. If you search for my name on Google, I think it's the second hit is DEC arrested me for trafficking narcotics. Honest truth, in my addiction, I never felt that it was too much for me. I always felt I could handle it. And even when everything was going wrong, it's only when I actually stopped and I started looking back like, okay, this was God's intervention. I'm Clinton Kruger. I grew up in Saka West, Singalume particularly. I spent my whole life in Singalume. And my upbringing wasn't really an ordinary, I was not moved around a lot. I was pretty much in the same place. And I would say that I went to private school. I went to Italian school when I was growing up, and then I finished off at St. Thomas to do my grade 12. Then I went to Zikes for a short semester, 6 months. But I wouldn't say that there was any abuse or any neglect. My family were, especially my mother, she was there for me. I think more of it was my father was a bit absent, which did affect me a bit. But apart from that, it was pretty much uneventful growing up as a childhood.
Okay. So you told me you went to school, you went to Italian school, went to St. Thomas. At what point, before I get there, what was your drug of choice?
My drug of choice when I first started, it was marijuana. Then I moved to heroin and crack cocaine.
So when did you start?
Marijuana, I started when I was in grade 10. I was probably about 15. And then heroin, I started at 17 in Zikes. And then I think crack cocaine as well was about 17 years old. Then I would say my active addiction, meaning using every day, that was probably from about 20 years old to 21. And that's when now, every day. Prior to that, it was maybe like weekends or once every 2 weeks or so. I would be taking the harder drugs. The weed I would smoke every day, but the harder drugs would be maybe once in 2 weeks or on a weekend,
Okay, where did you get the marijuana at 15? Where were you getting it from?
It's not difficult to find marijuana. Like the area I grew up on, I think is Zingalume. It's like George Compound is there. So this stuff was really common. I could leave my house and walk just down the road 10 minutes and you'd find someone selling marijuana. And then, you just find yourself in certain circles with certain people, and you know that these people are the ones that can lead me to these things. So I would make sure I'll be found around people that did smoke, Rasta men, found around people that knew where to get this stuff from.
Okay, and the crack cocaine, was that relatively easy as well?
The crack cocaine and the heroin was a bit more difficult in the beginning. Like I would say for the past maybe 5 years or so, that's when now it's extended to all the other different areas. But in the beginning it only used to be in Shiwolia.
And how much would it be?
When I first started or now?
When you first started?
When
you were younger then?
Yeah, when I first started, a parcel of heroin was 5 kwacha and a parcel of crack cocaine was 50 kwacha. But it came as powder, it wasn't cooked, so you had to now refine it yourself, where nowadays they refine it for you, but back then it was just the powder for, I think it was 25 kwacha, and they have it for 50 kwacha as well.
Okay. And when did your family notice that you were...
Well, I was very open with my family. So when I started smoking weed, they knew about it. And when I started hard drugs, I basically approached my brother and I told my mom that I'm having a bit of a difficulty with this stuff, because they did notice certain behaviors, like especially with the college, my behaviors started changing. So they did notice it, and that's when now I went to them and basically told them that the reason that this is happening is because I'm struggling with this substance use.
Okay. So you said they noticed that, academically in school you weren't doing well. Were there any other signs? Were you getting in trouble? Were you
There's
in prison?
there's a few common signs. Particularly how it starts is you'll notice someone will be withdrawn, he will be isolating himself, he'll be having secretive behavior. You will find them, they'll change their friend groups, they won't be emotionally intelligent, I can say, like how they were connected to you in the past as a family member, how they were present with family functions, or how they were just present in the household in general. And you would find these small changes in their behavior would now also be present in school, because they will not be focused on the academics. They won't be focused on anything, Then you would find it will slowly start leading to problems where you get disciplinary cases at school, or you'll get arrested. But arrested now will maybe be much further down the line. So I think it's basically in the beginning it's the change of behaviors. The emotions will be very up and down. You'll find that when it starts progressing, you'll find that they'll be getting into a lot of fights. They'll start losing self-care, where you'll find they won't be taking care of themselves. They won't be bathing. They won't be doing up their hair. They won't be having any interest in themselves. And that's when now you'll see they will start spending a lot of money. Resources will be going like nothing. They can't keep anything. Selling phones, selling items that they have, and that's when now you'll start seeing signs of arrest. And then you'll see also the disappearing, where they'll disappear for the whole day, doing nothing at night. Yeah.
Were you ever in trouble with the law?
Yeah, I was arrested. If you search for my name on Google, I think it's the second hit is DEC arrested me for trafficking narcotics.
Okay. And how long did you go away for?
I was away for 6 months. I was very lucky. Yeah. And that was the only reason I went away for 6 months, was because of the amount that I had on me, because I wasn't trafficking, I was just using. And also the fact that I had records at Chainama for attempting rehabilitation and at another psychiatrist, and they basically provided a letter through my lawyer to say that yes, this individual has been struggling with substance abuse disorders, and he has sought help with us. So that was in my favor. I was very lucky.
Okay. How much was caught on you, if you remember?
It was I was caught with weed, with heroin, and with diazepam. So diazepam I had 1 tablet. Okay. Then with the weed I had 2 point something grams. Then the heroin was 10 parcels. I'm not too sure how much that was, but it was probably between 0.8 grams to 1.2 grams, because a parcel is not that big.
Okay, so at this point you went to Vikas, so you did the 6-month course and you dropped out, or did you?
Well, I was at Zikas. I went to, when I started at Zikas, I did NCC. I was interested in computer programming. I wanted to become a developer, a software engineer, And it started off all well. But then I was already into smoking weed. So that's how I would find myself with certain people. And I'd always have weed on me, so I'd be approached by certain people, and then I used to hang around with them. But then I saw this group of people, the group of boys, they were like popular, you would say. Everybody wanted to hang around with. They were getting all the girls. They looked like they were enjoying life the most, So I think curiosity led me to them. And the first month, I was doing well, going to classes, I was on point, everything was going well. But then I think it was after a month and a half, that's when I started hanging around with them. And then they kind of led me into crack cocaine. The heroin, I kind of somehow got into it unaware, but the crack cocaine specifically, I chose to take it. And the heroin, I thought I was taking cocaine, but it was, in fact, this other stuff. And then after that 1.5 months, everything just went downhill. I stopped attending classes. I just hung out at the boarding houses. We would be going to Chiwolia, buying our stuff, then going to sit in the car park, and they would drink alcohol. I wasn't for alcohol. I just used to be using drugs.
Okay. And what would it make you feel like? What would the different drugs make you feel like?
At which stage? At the beginning or at the end?
We can transition, so we can start with at the beginning. How would it make you feel?
At the very beginning, it gave me confidence because I had no self-esteem in myself. I had no confidence in myself. So I found that when I was using drugs, I felt like I had the confidence to do what I wanted to do. I could talk to people how I wanted to talk to them. It kind of gave me that superficial feeling that this stuff is boosting me as a person. It made me feel like I was performing well, but that's what happens with substances. It gives you delusions. So like I thought that this stuff was making me happy, obviously with the euphoria, but I felt like this stuff was enhancing my performance, when in fact it wasn't at all. It was making it worse, and in my mind I was in some fantasy and delusion that this stuff all was working to my benefit. Then at the end it was everything was down. My feelings were down. My relationships were down, and I would basically just be using because that's what I felt. I had to feel normal, so I would never get high, no matter how much I used. I would never feel that euphoria. I basically just used because if I didn't use, I got sick, and if I got sick, I couldn't perform. I found that it was basically just for me to function as a normal human being. I would have to use this substance.
You said something. You said at the time your relationships were down. What was that like? How did this affect your family? How did at the peak of your addiction? Mm-hmm. What was that like? Your relationships with your family?
Okay. I won't mention the exact family members, but just for example, to give you a light on how my addiction affected the family, a certain family member had to start counseling and therapy because they got fear from me, thinking that I would either be killing myself or thinking that I would harm them, like because I would be stealing things, I would have outbursts of emotions. I would never be violent because I was never a violent person. But they had these fears that maybe he wouldn't understand what's going on and he would be in some substance-induced psychosis and then he would get violent. So they had that fear where they were locking themselves up, they were keeping everything away from me, so it's like you basically have to be alert all the time to know when this person is around. You have to be careful that they're not stealing things. You have to be careful that they're not trying to get into any violent situations. You have fears that police will come, or even just other dealers would come looking for money, and these are not the nice people. They want to come and bring destruction. So it basically affects everybody in the sense that you're not safe in your own house. And then it also gives you that sense of helplessness, the people around you, because they see you basically killing yourself with this poison, and there's nothing they can do to help you, and there's nothing they can do to stop you. So they basically just have to witness your downfall, and then they feel these emotions, and they feel it more than you do because you've got this substance that keeps you happy. They don't. They have to feel everything. They have to be there and they have to be aware of what's going on. So it affects their emotions. It affects them mentally because they always have to be paranoid, thinking something is going to go on. Then also they get scared, thinking that one day they're going to get the call at night that this person has died, or someone will come to the house and start trying to cause problems. I remember the one time, one of the guys I had an argument with, he tried to attack a certain family member of mine that I was with a panga, just when we were leaving the areas. So it puts them all in immediate danger.
Okay. At what point was this all too much for you?
Honest truth, in my addiction, I never felt that it was too much for me. I always felt I could handle it. And even when everything was going wrong, even when I was staying in Chiwolia, or when I was going into prison, or when I was being followed by the DEC all the time, or the police always getting arrested, I never felt like I was losing control, because substance-induced psychosis is disorientation, delusions, and hallucinations. So within an addict, they think everything is all right. The delusions, the disorientation, they don't understand what is going on, where they are, or where they are with the people around them. And then the hallucinations is like, they start hearing voices and they start seeing the shadow people. So like, I never in myself thought that this is out of control. I might have been at my low points, but as long as I was taking my substance, I never felt like things are really, really bad. It's only when I actually stopped and I started looking back like, okay, this was God's intervention that I'm actually still alive, because certain things I used to do, like I used to walk home at like 3 o'clock in the morning from Chiwolia to Lusaka West. There was times where when the ritual killings were going on in Zingalume during the PF times, there was one time I was stealing phones with a friend of mine on the road. We would get the guys who come home drunk, we would grab their phone, then we would go and sell it to the dealer. And on the road we used to steal from, we literally stole the phone, took it to the dealer, we gave it to the dealer, and it was like literally we were gone for 15 minutes. And when we came back, on the way back, we found the mothers, like all the women were outside crying. And 2 people were murdered on the same road that we were doing this job on. So that very easily could have been us. There's been times I've been in Chiwolia where certain government entities come into Chiwolia and start firing shots, like you witness this thing happening and literally you just run and you hope that you don't get hit. So you think about the things that you actually been through, when I came out, I was like, no, it was really bad. But even when I was coming into rehab, I never wanted to come to rehab, I did it because I saw that, okay, it's prison, because DEC was onto me. They were like, no, you've just, it's just too much, just what I was doing. And then my family were basically shunning me, like they were tired, they've had enough, they tried for many years. So it was either rehab or prison or homelessness. And when I say homelessness, I mean complete homelessness, like no assistance, no helping hand, where I was staying on the streets for some nights in the like before they made that they told me to make that choice to choose. But I would at least know to say at the weekend I can go home, get some food, change my clothes, bath, and then go back, But I was told that no, you do this. So I basically went to rehab just to try and figure out in myself how I'm going to control things, because I saw that it was just a bit too crazy. So like in myself, I thought, no, let me just go here because this rehab sounds like it'll be easier than prison. So let me just go to this rehab and then I'll stay there for the amount of times that they want me to stay there. Then when I come out, everything will be okay.
So my question was going to be, so you coming to rehab, was that a Drug Enforcement Commission initiative, or was it from your family?
It was from my family. My mom, basically, I'd been to Chainama a few times.
How many times?
I went there once. I went there for 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days. Then the second time I went there, I ran away after 2 days. Then the third time I went there, I ran away on the first night. So I had been there 3 times. Then of course I'd been to prison, which did nothing. So my mother approached DEC because the DEC officers came to them and like, look, we know his situation. We know that he's just a user. He is not a violent criminal. He doesn't injure people, but he does commit crimes which we can't abide by. He does do certain illegal activities which will get him in trouble. So it was actually the officer that arrested me that approached him and said, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're coming for him, you know? So when that happened, my mom reached out to them and was like, what can we do? And then they had the initiative where you get registered and you go for counseling. But then this issue is for them to start counseling you, you need to be sober for 2 weeks. And any drug addict being told that for us to help you, you need to give up the thing that's destroying your life for 2 weeks. And the reason it's destroying my life is because I can't go without it. I can't go without it for a day, you know? So this is where the complication with that came. And then now my mom started reaching out to other hospitals to find out what was happening. DEC put her in touch with Victoria Hospital, and basically the initiative that DEC wanted to use with Victoria Hospital was to put me into a drug-induced coma for 2 weeks. And then when I came out of the coma for 2 weeks, I would start the counseling. Then my mother was like, there's no way I'm putting him into a coma for 2 weeks because of the complications that could come from this coma. And that's when she started reaching out to certain rehabs around Lusaka. And then she spoke to Sanity House, she spoke to Mr. Daniel, and then she just said that there was something about this man, the way he understood things, the way he spoke. You could see that he had that sincerity and he had that understanding. So I don't know, there was just something about him that made them now go to him. And then of course when I came and met him, I knew I had to come to rehab, so I didn't care what he would say or what it looked like. I just had to.
It was just something that you had to do.
Yeah, it was just something I had to do. And then even when I did come, I still ran away. I ran away the first day, went to smoke drugs, went back to the rehab, ran away the second day again, took my blankets, sold my blankets for drugs. Yeah, imagine. That's when now I even got transferred to the other Maximin, like the other facility is where you put high-risk individuals. And that's where now I was kind of finding it difficult to run away, and that's when I had to start following the program.
Okay, so at what point did you decide to stay away from drugs?
I would say it's second month into rehab. After the second month of rehab, I started deciding to say that my life has to change, because I started feeling better. My mind was clearer. I could focus, which I couldn't do before. I couldn't even read a book before. I'd read the first line and be like, distracted. My mind's on something else. And I wanted to make a legacy for myself. This is where now, after the second month of rehab, you start noticing that, like, through the therapy, through the abstaining, through the skills development, you start noticing that there is something better for me out there. And then I think I wanted to now see, at least experience it. And I was even telling myself to say, you know what, let me try. If I don't like it, the drugs will still be there. But let me give it a shot, you know? And that's what kind of led me to say, let me see how far this takes me. And I would honestly say that after I came out of Sanity House, things have just been getting better. You know, like the life, the position I find myself in, the relationship with my family, like even just me seeing my son. Like I didn't see my son in 4 years, and I finally just got to see him. His mother let me see him to say that, no, you have been clean for long enough now. And I actually went to go spend some time with him, and I get to go spend some time with him, you know? So it's just been great.
And I don't know, overwhelmed a little bit. Overwhelmed with your story. It's just, I guess the when I got here, you told me that Sanity House's motto is "We don't give up around here."
Yeah.
And I guess just to hear a story of someone who was not given up on, because at many points in your life, someone could have literally said,
"There's no value here."
I'm done. Like even when you ran away the second time,
Yeah.
someone could have literally just said, "Look, we're done. We can't. He can't.
He can't. Yeah. No, it's true.
It's you. The story is really amazing.
Yeah.
No,
thank you.
So just getting back to it and just pulling myself together. What has life been like after Sanity House? What did you decide to start doing? Are you working here? Tell me about that.
Well, I've got basically 2 jobs that I do. I work in the rehab, in Sanity House rehab, the Standard Center, which is where we house the high-risk individuals, the ones that are been on drugs for a certain amount of years and they're at that point of homelessness, So the extreme cases, you could say. I'm an addiction counselor there, as well as a house manager. So basically, I help facilitate the running of the rehab. I help with talking to the guys. I help them through some of their issues. I try to support them where I can, because you find some people come in, they've got no clothes. Like I came in, when I went there, I sold all my clothes. I sold, like I said, I ran away, sold my blankets. So you can imagine what state of mind you get in at that point. So I try to facilitate helping them to get themselves on their feet, because you'd be surprised how just something small, like giving someone a pair of clothes, that makes him feel good about himself, because when he looks in the mirror, he's like, wow, And that small little spark of self-love can be enough to give someone the interest in themselves and say, no, let me do something better for myself. I need to stop this road I'm going down. Then the second job I do is the non-profit side, and I won't say much about it, but we focus on not necessarily telling people that stop taking drugs. We focus on life preservation. So we provide health services to the addicts and the people basically in the drug hotspots, the areas that are most affected by drugs, drug users. And we will go in and help them with clinical services, wound management, certain diseases, where we can, we will help out. And I think that job to me is the most impactful, because you find that these are people who, they don't have any other help. They don't have people who can be there for them. So I think that I feel good just to let them know that we can be there for them. And if they approach us and tell us that they've had enough of drugs and they want to change, because most of the people that are in Chiwolia, they know me from my time. So when they see me, they're like, wow, And this actually gets them to come and ask me, talk about it. They start talking about their struggles. And we do pro bono cases where we can, but we are still looking for certain entities to help fund us on these pro bono cases, because I think we manage to do about 16 a year, and that's based off the fact that it takes like 3 to 4 months just to rehabilitate one person, So it is a costly endeavor, but it's making an impact. But I wouldn't say it's enough, when you look at the amount of substance abuses out there. But even just people who don't want to stop taking drugs, just giving them that helping hand, making sure that at least they're healthy, making sure that they're aware of themselves, aware of what's wrong with them, and even just certain things like just talking about safer injecting practices to those who inject, talking about overdose. What can you do if your friend is overdosing? You teach them, so you find that a lot of the cases, or a lot of the times, you'll find people dying in Chiwolia or dying in certain places because they overdose on drugs and people around them don't know what to do. So just spreading of this awareness, spreading of this information, it's helpful.
Okay. And your relationships, what are they like now?
My relationships are good. They could get better, but that's just it'll take time. Like certain people, I did a lot to harm them. Like I don't blame them for keeping their distance and trying to be a bit guarded with their emotions because of what I put them through. Like I won't mention names, but just one of them I stole a large amount of money from. I think it was a total of 120,000 kwacha that I stole just for drug use that I blew within like no time at all. And this is someone that after doing that, I basically shunned him off. And when he tried to come and get me for it, I showed no remorse. And they brought the police, and it was basically like, are we going to arrest this guy, our family, or, are we going to try and find a way to help him? And I'm thankful that they chose to try and find a solution, because the things that I did, I honestly don't feel that I deserved to be kept, and I thank God that I was, because the things I did was, I look back at it and I'm just like, I think about myself, how I would react if someone of my family was doing that to me and showing the restraint that they did. I do applaud them for that, because in some certain situations, I would have found it difficult, even myself, to show that restraint, if someone did that to me.
Okay. Do you believe in God?
Of course.
Okay. And has faith helped you?
Faith is a very important part of recovery, because in recovery, there's the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. And we call it the higher power in the AA or the NA program. And the higher power is a very important part of it, whether you call him God, whether you call him Allah, whether you call him Gaia, it's the trees, whether you can have a higher power, can be anything. But basically, for you to hand over the things that you are not in control of, you hand it over to your higher power. You have to have faith in something to know that things will be okay. And you have to know that the future can be better, because God is looking out for me. Prayer helps. There's a certain therapeutic value within prayer, because God is listening, and when the time is right, God will help you through this. Or just speaking out loud these things that are troubling you or what you're going through, just hearing it out loud can give you a different perspective of your own problems. So in prayer, it is therapeutic, and it's the serenity prayer. The important prayer of recovery is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, So it's like you have to have God. You have to.
Okay. And obviously, we can't end this without you giving a message to someone who's struggling with addiction. Firstly, them, and then secondly, the people around them. What would you say to them?
That's a very difficult question. The people around them, I would say, don't give up, because even though someone is in a bad situation, they still can have value. When they come out of that bad situation, things can be better. So I would say, don't give up on them. Try and change your approach. Try and seek help. Try and learn certain things that they can't handle, and try and help them in those areas. For the addict themselves, it's difficult, because someone in addiction, no matter what you say to them, they won't care if it's going against their substance. They won't be interested in it. Even when you're trying to make someone see the benefits of recovery, you have to show them. And what I mean by show them is, like I was having this conversation earlier. You tell people, one of the things to help you with your triggers is people, places, and things. Stay away from certain people, stay away from certain places, and stop doing certain things. If I tell an addict to say, stay away from these people, those are his friends, those are the only people he has in his life. So he will look at you like, what do you mean, stay away from them? Then he's like, stay away from certain places. But why will I stay away from Chiwolia? Because that's where I get my drug and I need my drug, you know? And then stop doing certain things. The same stories. Why would I stop doing that? I need to do it every day. Otherwise I won't be well. Do you not understand? I'll be sick, you know? So they don't see it in themselves. So it's like, you can say what you want, they won't listen. You have to show them. So you spend the time with them. You don't tell them to spend time with other people. You take them to those people. You take your time and be in their life to show them, to say, I'm another person. Be with me. This is another person. They're there for you. Be with them. You know? Take them to other places. Show them that there's other things in this world. Because, you know, like, even people who are in the habit of work, all they mainly see is just home, work. So you have to take them outside to really open their mind, to show them, to say, look, there's other places that we can go and hang out. There's other things we can do. You know, so it's like, it's more of less words and more being there for the addict and more action to help the addict. I would say, just as a general message, that, you know, you don't feel that you're lost. The time will come that it will get better, and you just have to keep on holding on. Just keep on staying strong and keep on trying. You know.
Thank you so much. I don't know why this one was hard for me, but I was fighting tears. I was like, I'm not going to. We're done. This is just off the record.
Yeah, I can take as well.
Yeah.